Just like you test a man before giving him your heart, men test women too. The difference? Their tests are silent, hard to spot, and if you fail, he won't give you a second chance. Welcome back to Journey After 60. Today, I'm here to reveal 3 subtle ways men test women when they're starting to fall in love. Tests that often happen without them even realizing it. Miss these signs, and you might think he's pulling away, when in fact, he's just checking if you're the real thing. But recognize them, and you'll know exactly how to respond with confidence. Before we dive in, take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your future self will thank you, because you'll be the first to get love advice and dating insights for women over 60 that can transform the way you experience relationships. Let's start with the very first one, and it often shows up before you even realize what's happening. Number 1. The test of patience and effort. The first test might feel confusing, even frustrating, because he'll make you wait, hold back, and see how you respond. He doesn't call when he says he will. He takes his time texting back. He might seem to pull away just when things are getting good, or he delays making plans. Your first instinct might be to think he's losing interest, but often the opposite is true. When a man starts falling for you, something primal kicks in. He begins to wonder, is she here because she genuinely cares about me, or is she just caught up in the excitement? Will she stick around when the butterflies settle? This test isn't about making you suffer. It's about his deep need to know that your feelings are real. Men have been conditioned to believe that they must earn love through achievement, providing, or being enough. So when a woman shows interest, part of him wonders if it's authentic, or if it will disappear when the initial rush fades. As the philosopher Alain de Botton once said, "We don't really want to be loved for our achievements. We want to be loved despite our flaws." This is exactly what he's trying to discover about you. Think about it this way. When you're unsure about someone, don't you sometimes hold back a little? You might not respond immediately to every text, or you might not make yourself completely available. It's not because you're playing games, it's because you're protecting your heart while you figure out if this person is worth the risk. Men do the same thing, but they often do it by creating space and seeing how you respond. Will you chase? Will you become anxious and demanding? Or will you continue being the confident, whole woman he was attracted to in the first place? Have you ever recognized that a man was testing your patience? Maybe you realized later that what felt like him pulling away was actually him trying to understand the depth of your interest. Share your experience in the comments below. Your story might help another woman recognize what's really happening in her relationship. The key to passing this test isn't about being passive or accepting poor treatment. It's about maintaining your own sense of self-worth while giving genuine connection the space it needs to develop naturally. When you respond to his pulling back by staying centered, continuing your own life, and not becoming anxious or clingy, you're showing him something powerful. That you're not desperate for his attention, you're choosing to give it. This distinction matters enormously to a man who's falling in love. It tells him that when you do choose him, fully and completely, it will be because you want him, not because you need him to fill some void in your life. Patience may be the first challenge, but what comes next goes even deeper. Whether he feels safe enough to show you his true self. Number 2, the test of emotional safety. This one is subtle and profound. A man who's falling for you will, at some point, share something personal, maybe a fear, a past mistake, or a moment when he felt less than strong. It might seem small. He mentions being worried about his aging parents, admits to feeling overwhelmed at work, or shares a story about a time he failed at something important. You need to understand, this isn't casual conversation. This is him testing whether you can be trusted with his humanity. Men are taught from boyhood to be strong, to have answers, to protect and provide. Showing vulnerability feels dangerous because it goes against everything they've learned about being masculine. When he shares something real with you, he's taking an enormous risk. How you respond in that moment will determine whether he opens his heart further or begins to close it off. My neighbor's sister, Anthea, who's 63, told me about a pivotal moment in her relationship. She'd been seeing Robert for about 3 months when he confessed that he'd made a poor investment decision and lost a significant amount of his retirement savings. He was clearly embarrassed, even ashamed. Anthea's first instinct was to offer solutions or reassurance, but instead, she simply listened. She acknowledged how difficult that must have been for him and thanked him for trusting her with something so personal. She didn't try to fix it or minimize his feelings. Months later, when their relationship had deepened significantly, Robert told her, "That night when I told you about the money, that's when I realized I could trust you with anything. You didn't judge me or try to make it better. You just held space for me to be human." This is what the test of emotional safety reveals. Can you handle his imperfections with grace? Can you see his vulnerabilities as signs of his humanity rather than weaknesses? When he shows you the parts of himself he usually keeps hidden, will you respond with judgment or with acceptance? The psychology behind this test runs deep. Men often feel like they're performing masculinity rather than simply being themselves. They're constantly managing how much of their inner world to reveal because they've learned that too much emotion or uncertainty can be perceived as weakness. When a man is falling for you, he desperately wants to know if he can drop this performance with you. He wants to discover if you'll love him not just for his strength, but also for his struggles. Maya Angelou beautifully put it, "There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you." When he begins to tell you his untold stories, he's asking, "Will you be a safe place for me? All of me." The way you pass this test isn't by trying to fix his problems or by minimizing his concerns. It's by listening without judgment, by responding with empathy rather than advice, and by showing him that his vulnerabilities don't diminish him in your eyes. They make him more real, more trustworthy, more worthy of love. Emotional safety is powerful, yet it's still not the final test, because after this, he'll want to know if you truly respect yourself and if he must respect you too. Number 3, the test of boundaries and respect. To borrow the words of Nelson Mandela, There is no passion to be found in settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living. That truth lies at the very heart of this ultimate test. This test might look like disrespect, but it's actually the opposite. A man who's falling for you will sometimes push gently against your boundaries, not to hurt you, but to see if you know your own worth. He might show up late to a date without calling. He might make a comment that's slightly inappropriate or push for physical intimacy before you're ready. He might suggest changing plans last minute or expect you to accommodate his schedule without considering yours. Your first reaction might be anger or hurt, thinking he doesn't respect you. But here's what's really happening. He's unconsciously testing whether you respect yourself. Men are naturally drawn to women who know their own value, not in an arrogant way, but in a quiet, confident way that says, "I know what I deserve, and I won't accept less." When he tests your boundaries, he's asking a fundamental question. Does she value herself enough to require that I value her too? This doesn't mean he's trying to mistreat you or that you should accept poor behavior. It means he's discovering whether you'll maintain your standards when faced with pressure to lower them. The man who's falling for you wants to know that when you choose him, you're choosing from a place of strength, not desperation. He wants to see that you have options and standards, and that you're with him because he meets those standards, not because you're afraid to be alone. How you handle this test determines not just whether he respects you, but how much he values the relationship itself. When you calmly but firmly maintain your boundaries, you're showing him something irresistible, that you're a woman who knows her worth. Let's say he's consistently late. Instead of accepting it or getting angry, you might say, "I value my time and I hope you value it too. If you can't make our agreed time, please let me know in advance so I can make other plans." Then you follow through. If he's late without notice, you make other plans. This response accomplishes something powerful. It shows him that you're not desperate for his company. You're choosing to share your valuable time with him. It demonstrates that access to you is a privilege, not a right. Before we continue, do me a favor and add this video to your Watch Later playlist. These insights about male psychology are the kind you'll want to revisit when you're navigating your own relationships. The beautiful thing about this test is that when you pass it, when you maintain your boundaries with grace and confidence, his respect and attraction for you deepens dramatically. You become someone he wants to win over, not someone he can take for granted. Men are wired to pursue and cherish what they have to earn. When you show him that your love, time, and attention must be earned through consistent respect and effort, you tap into something fundamental in masculine psychology. This isn't about being difficult or high maintenance. It's about being high value, knowing what you bring to the table and requiring that he bring his best as well. So there you have it, the 3 subtle ways men test women when they're falling in love. The test of patience and effort, the test of emotional safety, and the test of boundaries and respect. When you understand these tests for what they really are, a man's way of asking, "Can I trust you with my heart?" everything changes. You stop taking his behavior personally and start responding from a place of wisdom and strength. Because the answer he's looking for isn't in how much you sacrifice or how far you bend, it's in how authentically you show up, how gracefully you hold space for his vulnerability, and how confidently you honor your own standards. In the end, his tests aren't about you changing for him. They're about whether you can stay true to yourself, so that letting himself fall for you feels like the safest choice he'll ever make. Now, I'd love to hear your story. Have you experienced a moment in a relationship where you realized you were being tested and how you handled it changed everything? Or perhaps you're currently navigating one of these tests and need some perspective. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experience might be exactly what another woman needs to recognize her own strength. And hit that like button and subscribe for more insights on building meaningful relationships after 60. Check the description for additional resources that will support your journey toward becoming the confident, authentic woman you were always meant to be. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.